Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response.
Stop scrolling. Did you just hear what a candidate for Congress actually said out loud on live television about 9/11? You need to hear the rest of this immediately.
And again, just like I said before, our responsibility is to getting rid of those conditions that lead to violence in the first place.
Wait, did you catch that? Listen to the specific phrasing she just used regarding one of the darkest days in American history. She completely frames the destabilization of the Middle East as the direct trigger, shifting the accountability entirely away from the actual attackers. Look at the interviewer's body language right there. He is sitting incredibly still, almost processing the massive political risk of what was just spoken on his set. It is rare to hear a politician drop the standard diplomatic filter and deliver an unfiltered, highly controversial geopolitical take like that straight to the camera. You have to wonder how a statement of that magnitude plays out with moderates in a swing district. She is making a massive gamble that her base is hungry for absolute, raw, anti-interventionist rhetoric, regardless of how aggressively it disrupts the standard political narrative we have been fed for 2 decades.
They're having a lot of disarray on their side, and that will play to our advantage in the midterms. We have, for the first time in 10 years, my friends, we have a slight fundraising advantage over the Democrats. That never happens. They're so motivated, and we have the President of the United States running like it's 2024, okay? Without doing campaigns and rallies, you need to look right into the eyes of the camera and say, I am on the ballot, because in a real sense, he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted.
Pay close attention to the escalation in his voice right here. He is not just firing up a base, he is laying out a direct, step-by-step battle plan. When he mentions the threat of the opposition turning every congressional committee into an investigative body, he specifically highlights the targeting of donors and friends. That is a massive dog whistle to the deep-pocketed financial backers sitting right there in the room. He is effectively telling the financial elite that their personal wealth and privacy are actively on the ballot. Notice how he points directly into the crowd when he says, "half of you in this room." That is textbook psychological framing. He is closing the distance between abstract political theory and their actual bank accounts. It is a brilliant, terrifying strategy to squeeze every last dollar out of the donor class by making the political stakes entirely personal.
But how does abolishing prisons or having open borders fit into that? I mean, do you see how those are ideas that a lot of your Democrats that are warning about what happened here say are toxic. Most of America won't go along with it, are bad ideas. They're dangerous ideas.
I think what the focus of her race was, what the focus of her candidacy was about the struggle that working people are facing. And I think that we can have disagreements on policy positions. What we have to agree on is what are we fighting for and who are we fighting for? She showed that in her race, and I think that many people will come to appreciate that in her leadership to come.
So we can disagree on something as basic as whether or not there should be prisons? That's not your position.
There are prisons,
yes.
And what we're also showing in this city is that safety is not something that's up for debate.
Look at the sheer confidence on his face while discussing the total abolition of prisons. 10 years ago, a politician suggesting we completely dismantle the prison system would have been laughed off a mainstream news network. Now, he is sitting on a premium Sunday morning panel, perfectly styled, calmly explaining why dismantling the justice system is just standard policy. Look at the anchor across from him. He is completely disarmed by how matter-of-fact the delivery is. There is zero hesitation. This marks a massive cultural shift in what is considered an acceptable Overton window for political debate. He isn't sweating, he isn't dodging the question, he is leaning straight into the fire. It really makes you question where the ceiling is for these radical policy proposals, because if this is being pitched casually on national television, the ground is moving way faster than most people realize.
Only 29% of Democrat voters now say they are proud to be American. Over half now say they want to live in another country. I am very bullish about the midterms. Let me just tell you right now, as the leader of this little army in the House, we are ready for this fight. We're ready for this fight. We're called for it. But this is a midterm unlike any other, not only because of the threats that we face that are very real and must be confronted, but it's because of a lot of reasons on paper why we should win. I could do this with you all day, talking about the 700 bills we passed through the House, the 100 executive orders we've codified, and all the great things we've done for hardworking American families, and pro-family policies and pro-life policies, and we're fulfilling our promises. They are on the verge of an open civil war because the establishment Democrats are being pushed out by the Marxists.
Did you hear the specific polling numbers he just cited? Claiming only 29% of the opposing party is proud to be American is a highly calculated rhetorical weapon. He is building a narrative that the other side isn't just politically wrong, but fundamentally disconnected from the nation's core identity. Look at his posture, shoulders back, leaning into the microphone. He then drops the phrase, open civil war. You do not use that kind of apocalyptic language unless you have internal data showing that absolute panic is the highest converting emotion for your base right now. He is painting a picture of total institutional collapse, framing his movement not as a political choice, but as the last remaining firewall against societal destruction. It is an intense, heavy-handed tactic designed to activate the deepest survival instincts of his voters before they even reach the ballot box.
I think about this great country and where we come and how we're just going to give it away without a shot being fired. And that's exactly what's happened in the Democrat Party. And honestly, in the Republican Party, if we're going to start playing ball with these far leftists, I'm still friends with them. I'm friends with AOC. I pray for her, but I don't agree with a dadgum thing she says, ma'am, and I never will. We better stand up for this Constitution or we're going to lose it. We will lose it in these midterms because that is where the Democrat Party is headed. That's where their leadership is going. Hakeem Jeffries, he's making some lame statements about this. All he wants to do is stay in power, and he will move to the left because that's what you saw with AOC.
Check out the dynamic happening right now. He is openly stating that he is friendly with some of the most far-left figures in government, but simultaneously drawing a hard, impenetrable line in the sand regarding their policies. It is a fascinating tightrope walk. He is trying to project absolute professional civility while entirely nuking their political ideology. Look at his environment, the American flag draped perfectly in the background, the sharp suit. It is classic establishment signaling. He brings up the Constitution almost like a shield, implying that a single midterm loss will result in the total tearing up of the nation's founding documents. He is essentially telling the moderate viewers that you can like these progressives as people, but if you hand them the keys to the engine, they are going to drive the entire legislative vehicle straight off a cliff.
Mamdani said those victories prove that the DSA has a durable movement. Among the positions that these candidates have advocated for are ending all support for Israel, ending prisons, ending police, no borders. Now, you've worked hard to be a progressive who can represent all of Georgia, all of a purple state. Are you worried at all about the impact that these positions of some DSA members could have on the Democratic Party's ability to win a majority in November?
Look at the tension in his expression as he listens to the laundry list of radical demands. Ending police, ending borders. You can practically see the political math calculating in his head. As a senator in a deeply purple swing state, he knows those soundbites are absolute poison for his re-election campaign. Notice how carefully he pivots. He immediately deflects from his party's radical wing and tries to shine the spotlight back onto the opposition's loyalty tests. It is a classic media survival tactic. He refuses to directly condemn the socialists in his ranks because he desperately needs their ground game and door knockers, but he absolutely cannot afford to adopt their slogans. It is a brilliant display of political gymnastics. He is trying to keep the umbrella wide enough to hold the revolutionaries without terrifying the suburban moderates who actually decide the election.
Republicans are going to make you the poster child for the Democratic Party.
Let them. We don't have to ask ourselves what life looks like if a socialist wins. I won last November, and over the course of these last 6 months, what we've delivered for working people are the very things we were told were impossible. We've delivered free childcare for 2-year-olds for the first time in New York City history. We've delivered tens of millions of dollars back to tenants who were taken advantage of by bad landlords.
Notice the strategy he is deploying here. He is taking incredibly polarizing labels like socialism and stripping away all the scary Cold War-era connotations. He completely ignores the ideological attacks and immediately pivots to hyper-local, universally loved deliverables. Free childcare for 2-year-olds. Tens of millions of dollars returned to tenants. He is practically daring the opposition to campaign against those specific perks. Look at his eye contact. He is speaking directly through the camera to the working class viewer, essentially saying, forget the scary labels the other guys are using, look at your bank account. It is an incredibly lethal political maneuver. By anchoring a controversial ideology to tangible, everyday financial relief, he makes it incredibly difficult for traditional politicians to attack him without sounding like they want to take money directly out of the pockets of everyday, hardworking families.
But they're saying that if you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. I mean, is there room in the party for both of these views?
Yes, here I am. Here are so many more. And I think what makes our party a beautiful party is the fact that it's a big tent, that we have
But you've also said it has to be a party with a spine, with a backbone.
Yes,
So
even a tent has to stay up.
Yes.
Catch the subtle smile when the anchor questions if there is even room in the party for his ideology. His response is completely unapologetic. Here I am. It is a massive power play. He is openly acknowledging that the old guard of the party might be uncomfortable with him, but he simply does not care because he has the votes to back it up. Notice how he uses the phrase beautiful party and big tent. He is using the establishment's favorite buzzwords to justify his own radical inclusion. It is a Trojan horse strategy. He is embedding highly disruptive, systemic changes inside the comforting language of traditional party unity. He knows the establishment is too terrified of fracturing the voter base to actually kick him out, so he is setting up camp right in the center of the room and daring anyone to tell him to leave. The political landscape is shifting faster than ever. Drop a comment below on who you think is really winning this narrative war, and hit subscribe so you never miss the breakdown.